Hey friends, my name is Lisa if we haven't met, and if we have, welcome back to my pottery studio. I am so glad you're here today. If you have been following along, you know that I recently had a contractor come, and in the unfinished area in my basement where I have my pottery space set up, I hired him to come and put in some walls for me and give me a little bit more kind of a structured space to work in. He did an absolutely fabulous job, as you can tell. All the walls are done. I actually did get it all painted, which is fantastic, but there's still kind of a punch list of things that I said I would take on to do that he didn't do for me, but things that I can take care of myself. I have gotten a lot of furniture moved back in, and one of the big upgrades, I was playing in SketchUp when I got kind of the final dimensions of where all the walls and everything were going to be, and I realized that I probably had enough room to have like a really big island. And I have a lot of lower cabinets already, some that I've made myself, some that I've purchased, but I realized if I purchased 2 more from the big box store, I already had the countertops. So I was able to build this island with actually not too much additional investment. I just kind of reappropriated some cabinets that I had in other areas. But that has been very exciting. I have over on the back wall here under the TV, storage for all of my dry materials for glaze mixing. My kiln is on the other side of the island here. I'll do a better tour here in a minute, but my wheel will go back there. I'm wanting to build some shelves for all kind of work in progress pieces and things like that. I have my slab roller and everything over in the corner, and my sink is set up right behind where the camera is here. So I will show you around. Hang on. So anyway, in the list of things that I have to do today, my biggest goal is to get all of my materials and supplies and tools and stuff that are still out in our rec room back in here, and I want to get them put back in an organized way. So even though this is a catastrophe of an area, it's absolutely my favorite kind of catastrophe because I get to organize. I would say for the most part, I know where I want most things to go. I've been thinking about it for a while as all this work has been going on, but there's some things that I'm still not quite sure on. So I'm going to start with organizing what I know where I want it to go, and then I'm going to kind of build from there. And everything's going to be out, and it's going to look worse before it gets better. But I'm going to take you along for the ride and show you my thought process on why I'm putting what where. And you know, sometimes you just have to like work with stuff for a little while, and then after a couple weeks I might modify it. But I'll show you what I'm going to start with, and I'm excited to get started. So on this side of the island, I know that I want to set up these 2 cabinets. So I've got 6 drawers on either side, and I want to use this side to store all of the tools and things that I use for glaze testing and all of the raw materials. So on the back side here, I've got all the cabinets for all the bulk goods, all the bulk dry materials that I use on a regular basis. But then I also have smaller containers of each one, because as you're kind of testing glazes and things like that, it's nice just to have a smaller quantity of each thing, because you're only using, you know, a few grams at a time for each piece. So like going back and forth to your big bulk goods side is kind of a pain. So I want to set this up so that I have all my materials and tools for glaze testing on this side. So I'm going to get everything else kind of out of the way for a bit here. We're going to put this stuff. This is just some crafting stuff, and I've got my other crafting cabinet over here. So for the time being, we'll just move this out of the way. I'm also thinking like I need to really probably declutter a lot. Maybe Marie Kondo this place. Like a lot of the craft stuff I don't use too much, but if my daughter comes over and wants to paint something, I still want to have it on hand, so I keep it. And these. Here I'm bringing in all of the bulk materials that I have. These are the main components of glazes, so like your fluxes, and I have frits and clay mineral and silica and stuff like that. And I use these bins that I got from IKEA. I think they're intended for like recycling, but they work really, really well for kind of bulk storage for all these items. So the things I wanted to do before I start filling these drawers, for the new cabinets that I just had to buy, I don't have the handles for them yet, but I did want to get the holes pre-drilled for the poles, just so that I could kind of load stuff in, and then when they arrive, should be coming in this week, I can just move stuff aside a little bit in there. But I wanted to get them drilled and vacuumed out and all that first. And what I'm starting to think about and plan for a little bit, because some things I can't find. That's not surprising. But I am thinking about where I want everything to go, even if I don't know where it is right now. So I'm going to make a note in some of these drawers what I plan to put in the drawer. Like I know in this top drawer I want to put my scale, so I don't put anything else in here. I have a really nice scale for measuring out materials, and I want to keep it tucked away for the most part. Now in the second and third drawer on this side, I'm hoping to fit all of my kind of smaller containers of material. So I have, for every material that I have over here in bulk, I also have a quart size container of it, just because it's easier to work with when you're batching glazes. So I'm wanting to see how many I can fit maybe in between these two drawers. If I can go, it's actually a fairly deep drawer. I can go 4 deep. I'll probably only be able to go 2 wide though. That's okay. So I'm going to put a liner in these drawers. So I have a bunch of like mismatched containers for different additives like colorants and things like that. Colorants and opacifiers and such. I want to standardize all of them and make them nice and tidy. So I bought these clear plastic containers on Amazon. I think are the right size, and they're going to be a little bit more space efficient in the drawers. So I'm going to label each of these on the top and on the sides, and then move them all out and have a nicer looking, I don't know, more organized chemistry drawer. That was an effort, but isn't this so much better? Like, just, it's like so much more space saving, and just seem more organized, and they're gonna look all tidy in my drawer. I did have 1 or 2 that I had more material than what fit in these, but that's okay. I'll just keep that kind of with the back stock of all of my other kind of bulk items behind us. But do the same thing with my stains. I've got a number of stains that they come in these little bags, and then the last time I ordered some stain, it came in these little containers, and I was like, that's brilliant. Why have I not put these in easier containers yet? So I'm gonna do that now. Happy with what's going on over here, even though it still looks like a disaster. I feel like my materials, drawers, and cabinet is for the most part organized. I have some more tidying up to do. And then I just decided to take the approach of throwing everything onto the island, everything else, to decide where I want it all to go. So I've got a bunch of underglazes over here. I've got other glazing materials, wax resists, stuff like that. I think I'm gonna go onto this right drawer and right side. I think that's gonna be where I store all of my wet glazes. Fingers crossed they will all fit on that side. That'll be the objective. I think this drawer is gonna be kind of like your regular like pens, pencils, tape, you know, just like your office drawer kind of thing. That's all I've got figured out now, so time to put some more stuff away. Okay, kind of like as soon as I get some stuff cleared off, I bring in more and pile it up. So my next objective is to see if all of my glazes will fit in this lower cabinet. I have my fingers crossed. I hope that they will. But I think that's going to be the perfect spot for them. So here we go. friends, it still feels like there is just so much stuff everywhere. And there is so much stuff everywhere. But what I'm working on next is I'm building a French cleat wall for this wall right here behind me, which my wheel is going to be right there. So this is going to be for being able to store stuff on the wall in the open. That's going to be really accessible and close to where my wheel is. And if you've never seen a French cleat system before, they're very, very cool. It's just an awesome way to have a lot of adjustability in how you are storing stuff, particularly tools and things like that you want kind of mounted to a wall, but you still want to be able to adjust them and move things around. They're very popular in like wood shops and for woodworkers and stuff like that. So I'm bringing that into the pottery studio today. I'll show you what that looks like as we get going here. But my first objective is I need to mark out everywhere that I have a stud on this wall. And then I'm going to transfer that over to one of these boards that I'll mount on the wall. And then I'll use this as my template. So I'm going to have several strips of boards, basically from like 2 feet up to like maybe 6 feet high, going across the wall. They'll all have this cleat system on them. And then as I want to move stuff around, I can hang it off of the cleat. It's going to make more sense when I show it to you. So just bear with me. So I'm going to use this. This is a little, it's a Craig stud finder. And the way it works is it's got 2 magnets on it. And so I just kind of go along the wall, and where I feel it grab, like right there, I know it's hitting a screw, and I know it's a drywall screw that's going into a stud. And I can also tell right here that I've got an outlet, so I know that there's probably a stud running down. Then you can use the little level on it. There's a little bubble level to straighten it out. And then it's got this line, and it's upside down. Get the level right. And then you have this, not sure if you can see it, but it's a red line that shows me exactly straight up from where it is, the exact markings of where I have a stud on the wall. So I'm just going to use a piece of painter's tape to mark this one out, and then I'll move along and find my next stud. And I need some more tape, and where I see that line, I'm going to mark it. That is the easiest way I know to find where you have studs on the wall. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to hold up one of my cleats. So these have a 45-degree cut on the top, and you mount it like this so that you can hook something behind it that's also cut at 45 degrees. Making my life easier, I'm going to make a template. So I know right here I should hit a stud. So I'm going to leave that tape there. I'm going to pre-drill a screw to here. And I think I can get away with just 1 screw per board all the way across. But I'm going to set this one up as a template because I have a whole bunch of them that I want to mount to the wall. So we're going to do this first. And I definitely hit a stud, so plans are working out fabulously. I'm just going to transfer the markings of my tape onto this board, and then I have this board as a template for all the others that I want to do just like it. So I'm just going to go along each one and pre-drill for its location. Some people might use like a fancy ruler or a square, but I think a little sticky note works just great. Now that I've got this board pre-drilled, it's going to be my template for the other boards, and they're all exactly the same length. They're all 7 feet long, and I'm just going to use a very small drill bit and go through each one with 1 board underneath it, and that's how I'm going to transfer the marks to each of my little cleat strips. So I realize this probably isn't making a lot of sense, but if you follow with me, if you stick with me, once it's on the wall and I show you how the system works, you're going to love it, I promise. So that marking is all transferred onto this line. I am going to mount this guy onto the wall on the first row that I want to have him start, just to make sure that all of the holes actually hit the wall, because I don't want to transfer that to like a whole bunch of these strips and then find out like one was off a little bit. So I can fix it now and only have a little bit of patchwork to do if I needed to. Feeling good. All right. Exactly what we were hoping for. I'm feeling pretty good about the system that I've established here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-drill all the rest of my boards. As I pre-drill it, I'm going to hold the next one underneath it because that'll leave the mark for where I want the screw to be. And then I'll get all these ready to mount, and then I just need to figure out how far apart I want to space them and stuff like that. So let's do some pre-drilling. One thing I just caught though, you want to make sure that you're pre-drilling from the front of the board and that this is going to be on the back. You want the cleat part to be going against the wall in a certain way. So what I just did was actually started putting the mark on this board, but it was on the wrong side. So I want to make sure that the faces are on the right side, if that makes sense. Okay, so I want to space these all out evenly. So I'm using this scrap piece of 2x6 just as a spacer. And then I'm lining up each one, still using that Craig stud finder to center that pre-drilled hole in the middle here. And then using my level after on each board to make sure that each one is level. And just working my way up with each board. I have room for 2 more, which is exactly what I've got queued up here, and good to go. Okay, so I got this wall all done, and I actually had 4 more boards, so I decided to kind of wrap it around, and then this wall here too, just above where I have my slab roller, I added 4 cleats on this side. I tried to kind of line them up so it sort of looked like they kind of came around. I didn't do such a great job there, but I'm okay with it. I'm good. Okay, so now to show you how a French cleat system works, if you haven't seen one before. So these were essentially one board that I ripped on the table saw with a 45-degree angle and then ended up with 2 pieces. And when you mount them like this so that the notch is kind of in the back and you have like this V, then you can take the opposing board and set it in there and it won't come off, which means I can use this as a bracket to mount other things to. An example would be this IKEA Scadus, I think a Scadus board. And you can see that I mounted it to the opposing side of the cleat so that I can actually just take this and hang it on the wall. And I can actually take it and move it around to wherever I want it on the wall. So instead of mounting the bracket of this dude onto the wall itself, I just mounted it onto this cleat, and then I can put it on the wall wherever I want to, and I can adjust it however I want to. And that's gonna make this wall super awesome for organization, which I love. I love it. Also in the realm of things from IKEA that I use in the studio, I don't even know what these plastic things are called. And I can't even remember what section I found them in. I think it was in like where the waste bin and like recycle bins and things like that are. But I use them for storing plastic in, plastic that I'm using to cover pots as they're drying. So I just cut another short piece of cleat that I'm going to screw to the back of this. And then I can organize this on the wall as well. Okay, the way this one works is it's got kind of these holes on the back there that those screws fit into. So fit in there like that. All right, so he can be here if I wanted. If I wanted him there, he could be up here. If I wanted him there, he could be over here. That's what I wanted. I could move you down. I could load you up with tools. Maybe right here would be a better height, right? I'll be on the wheel, I don't know. I might want to adjust it and pop them all around. I'm so excited, the possibilities are endless. Okay, I could go nuts right now getting all of my French cleat stuff set up. However, I do want to paint these boards and get them a bit more touched up so they're pretty. So I'm gonna take these couple things off. I'm gonna get out the paint and just touch it up a little bit. Okay, my French cleat walls are looking pretty good. The paint's drying. Got a few touch-ups to do maybe, but I'm going to turn my attention over to this desk kind of situation. So I've got two cabinets that I had made before. These used to be on the other side of my sink, but I think they're gonna fit really nicely right here. I did have a countertop, this countertop that I had gotten from IKEA. I did have to cut it down. And you know, when you do that, it's like, it's not solid. It's like, it's a hollow, it's a light countertop. But I had a piece of white laminate, so I used some contact cement and got the edge kind of relaminated. So that was a bit of a project, but I think it's ready to put in place now. I did check for level first. It'll go like right under them. I'm wondering if I want to just go ahead and take these off the toe kicks. I do want to use this drawer for putting in like my camera battery charging things and microphone charging stuff and phone chargers and all that. So what I think I want to do is drill a hole through the back so that I can route a power extension through here. I may actually put a hole in the back of this drawer as well so that it can just come like one of these guys. A power bar can kind of fit through and sit on the inside in here. So let's work on that. Okay, that's only the most obvious corner of the whole counter. Awesome. It's gonna be fine. Dang it. It was a reused counter anyway, so it's getting later in the day and I'm getting tired. And so while I'm waiting for that paint to dry, I started on installing the track for the curtain that I'm going to hang up to kind of separate the pottery space from the rest of the basement. We didn't want to put up a full wall, so we're just going to do a curtain. Okay, I think these doors are all painted, so they're ready to go on, which is going to be really nice. It's going to feel like I got something done. If I'm being honest, this whole studio build has been far more energy, far more challenging, far more exhausting than I thought it would be. I've kind of hit the point where I'm so tired that it's not that fun anymore. I just kind of want to like blink and have everything done. But at least having these doors put on will feel really good, and I can get these cabinets mounted to the wall, and that's going to feel like I accomplished something, which I definitely need right now. I need that feeling of accomplishment because, whew. All right. I hope I have the right kind of hinges. Yeah, it might not seem logical, but I feel like these doors are to blame for why I'm so tired. They don't seem like a big thing, but in order to make these doors, I had to go to the hardware store. I had to get a 3x8 sheet of plywood. I needed the rest of that sheet for something else anyway, but I had to go do that. Then I had to get it home, and I was by myself. I had to get out the track saw and break it down into reasonable pieces. I had to edge band each edge because I didn't want it to look like exposed plywood, and then cut the holes for these hinges. I mean, they're a basic door, but it was a lot of work. And oh, haha. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yay. Just gotta put knobs on. And this is done. Oh my gosh, old. Feeling old. Okay, so Oops, I'm gonna try something out. For my wedging table, I have this old sit-stand desk, and the cool thing about it is you can, like electronically make it go up and down and get just the right height. I'm not using it for anything else right now, so I was just upstairs in the garage and I built this top for it out of that plywood that I'd mentioned for the doors on the cabinets. I intentionally wanted to get a big sheet of plywood so I could build this as well. So it's 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood that I glued together, and then I put this poplar edge around it, and I even did my best at making some mitered corners. Now I'm not sure if it's going to be solid enough for wedging. I mean, I think it will be, but it's going to be an experiment. If it doesn't work, I can always build myself a more solid base. But I like the idea of being able to raise and lower it just to get just the right height for when I'm wedging. So if my back starts to hurt, I can just play with it, and I think that's going to be kind of cool. So we'll see if it holds up. But the next thing I need to do is just get it attached from underneath. Where are my screws for this bad boy? All right, well, gotta find the screws. Maybe instead of going crazy looking for these screws, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in place for now. I'm sure they will turn up, and then I can fix it. Probably not wedging clay anytime immediately. Anyway, this will be what it is for now. Look at us. Something done-ish. Okay, well, in the meantime, something I hopefully can knock out pretty quick here is modifying this shelf that I made to hold all my glaze tests, my glaze samples. And I think I can put this on a cleat, and I can now hang it on the wall, which is going to be really nice because it doesn't have to take up counter space. So. All right, that was easy. I think what would serve me really well right now is just to try to clean up and get a little bit organized as much as I can. A lot of the heavy lifting is kind of over though, so that's exciting. Actually, the one last thing that's gonna be challenging is I'm gonna hang the curtain over here. I'm gonna do that next while I have enough steam to do it, because I have to hold it up over my head for a while, and that's not as much fun. But I am excited about putting this curtain up, because then when I am filming in here, if I want to film from this angle, you're not looking at our workout equipment and storage and stuff like that. So let's do that next. So fortunately, these are curtains that I'm reusing. So these I had hung up along just the concrete insulated wall to hide that I was in an unfinished basement before. And voila. All right. I think that's gonna look better. I think it's pretty cool, and we can keep it open when we want it open and not kind of close off the whole space entirely. But yeah, I like that. I think it's gonna be all right. Cool, check the box. All right, a lot of little things to do. I think I'm gonna focus on just kind of cleaning up and getting a little bit more organized and making a punch list of all the remaining things. I haven't even brought my wheel in yet. I need to do that. But things are coming along. Okay guys, this was a lot of work and there's still a lot to go, but I do think this is where I'm going to leave you for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. The next video, I promise, will be a final reveal. So we'll be able to show the whole space. In this very second, my microphone battery died. My emotional battery was also at its end, but I basically am just telling you guys how much I love you, and I'm thankful for you being here, hanging out with me today. And I really look forward to seeing you on the next one. So hope you guys are doing great, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.